morning, everybody. How's everybody doing, man?
Steve is no more.
Steve, you're looking a little tanner today, buddy. Or wait, hold on. No, that's not Steve. Our good buddy Mason from Comics and Crosses. My man, how you doing today?
What's up? Good to be here.
Oh man, guys,
that cracks me up every time.
So Mason surprised us with that
he did.
On the intro vid, and the first time I was in stitches, guys. I was crying for like a good.
I witnessed it.
And
Steve hasn't seen that yet, by the way, guys. So,
No.
Steve, whenever you do watch this after you're done being an adult, we love you, bruh.
That's hilarious. Hey, thanks for putting that together, and thanks for coming out today on the House of Nerd, the Casita the Nerd. Man, it's gonna be a good show today, guys. Everybody hype? You guys hype?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I feel like there's something different with the energy today. So
the chats are live today, man. I just want to give a quick shout out to everybody who's here. Oscar's been here since like 9 a.m. this morning, Peru time. So shout out Oscar. Appreciate that. Stephen Hayner, Phil Moore, our boy Dragon Ranger is here. Chris Evans, Jeff Howell. Emmett, my man, everybody in the chats, actual Dracula, Joey, what's going on? Everybody, thank you guys so much for coming out. Before we get into the show, Mason, do you want to just let these fine folks know a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your channel, all that good stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So yes, I am Mason of Comics and Crosses. So the way I put it is I discuss the eternal truths behind our modern mythology. And so I am I'd like to say that my channel is the #1 Christian YouTube channel talking about non-Christian content.
Fun, folks.
Yeah, but so basically I just like to get into, there's so much talk about death and resurrection and zombies and vampires and all kinds of cool stuff in comics. And so I just like to have the conversation about these comics and what they mean, what they tell us about ourselves, basically. And yeah, so lately I've been a little slow on the content, but I'm looking to ramp it back up, doing, going over my weekly comics and whatnot, but I just have a good time. So you can check me out on YouTube or Instagram or Twitter. But on Twitter, it's just Comics and Crosses, not Comics and Crosses.
So you're extra hip on Twitter.
I guess so. I guess that's what it means. But they shorted me a character, so here we are.
Damn.
This is the situation.
Yeah, Twitter. And if it's not already in the description, we're gonna throw those links into Mason's channel, guys. Check it out. Good stuff. We got a big show planned for you guys. We're excited about this one. First segment always. Our week in review, we're talking about the best in comics, guys. After that, Mason's curated a little song for us we like to call First Thought. I'll explain that a little more once we get into that. And then our main discussion for today, guys, the 7 wonders of the comic book world. So it's a series. We're hoping, we're going to try to curate a series of these segments for you. And the first one today, most important moments in comic book history.
It's a big
7
one.
wonders, the big ones, man. So we're gonna get to that a little later. And then we got our copper drop. Mason once again, the deciding factor on this, guys. And I took it last time, so I'm hoping to go up
Hoping to sweep
on Lauren.
I gotta take your crown.
Yeah. Lauren's looking to tie things up. And then, guys, we have a guest announcement.
Sergio's at it again. We can't keep him out of Creator's DMs.
No, man. I'm always sliding in these guys' DMs and all that good stuff. So we got some hype planned for you. I hope you guys stick around to the end.
Somebody who may or may not be related to a letterer on a mini series of some sort. Yes.
Oh,
wow.
Okay. All right.
Mason, you just gave it away.
I'm sorry, that's too much. They know already.
They're gonna put 2 and 2 together, guys. So yeah, let's kick off the show, guys. This week in review, best in comics. Mason, what did your haul look like this week, bro?
So it was a decent haul. It was a respectable haul, I would say. And I, with one omission, I guess they forgot to put in my box Justice League Last Ride, unless it got delayed. I'm not sure. Anybody reading that could let me know. But so I missed that one. So, but that's been a cool.
Oh dang, you
series.
like that one a lot too.
It's so far so good. It's had 2 issues out, and Chip Zdarsky, I just think is I'm loving everything he's writing right now, like Ram V and probably a couple other guys. But so for my haul this week, and I've learned from last time to take them out of the bags and boards for display purposes. But so I picked it. I'm reading Action Comics. I'm reading all the Philip Kennedy Johnson stuff with Superman right now, and it's been interesting. It's been cool. Been tracking along, and so Action Comics had an annual. And this one was kind of focused on the House of L, which is like, some, I guess, futuristic super folk from the Future State storyline. They have their own Future State title. So I got that one. It was good, but I didn't really follow the Future State thing, so I wasn't as up on the characters, but it was a cool little story, kind of little mini adventure. I'll say that. And then, that one we're going to talk about later. But let's see here. Oh, yeah. Then Detective Comics. Detective Comics has been cool lately. I was concerned when Tamaki took it over, but I really like what's been going on in Detective Comics. There's kind of just... This one was pretty dark. About some crazy virus thing, and kind of got into this character who's been killing people in Gotham and getting into the upper echelon, the kind of more wealthy people.
That's Mason. Is that Mariko Tamaki?
Yes.
I believe she's Canadian, no?
Oh, hey. I have no idea, but
maybe I might be wrong, but for whatever reason, I'm thinking she's Canadian. If so, shout out Canadians.
Yeah. Well, whenever you like somebody's work, you could just say they're Canadian, right? I mean, that's
what I normally. Everybody's Canadian. The best creators are Canadian. Oh yeah, he's Canadian.
Just bolsters your country, right? So just that's
it.
If I don't know, just claim them. Yeah.
So those weren't your top 3 though, right, Mason? None of those are in your top 3 though.
No, these are just in my haul. So I'm also reading Thor. So Thor, a new storyline started. So this is Donny Cates. He's also been on the Thor title, aside from, I know Venom was real popular, but I've been liking what he's doing in here too, kind of taking Thor to different places. He's kind of depressed now that he's king and not just not a warrior. He's having issues with Mjolnir, and goes to his buddy Cap for some help. Nice. So that one's just start of a new arc, so we'll see where it goes. Spider-Man, Spider's Shadow. Speaking of Chip Zdarsky, this one is getting to the end. Next issue is the last of this series, but it's kind of a what if Peter didn't give up the Venom symbiote right away, and so it's been cool. It's been interesting. Kind of a real heavy situation, what goes down when Peter doesn't make the right choice. And then I think we're down to my top 3.
Ooh, here we go. I'm hyped.
All right, so what's your number 3, bruh?
Number 3 was the Flash Annual this week. So so for those of you who've been following the Flash, Wally West has kind of come back to center stage, at least for this story arc, and he has been running. Him and Barry were racing, and then they got into a weird, he got lost in the Speed Force, and he was going through everybody else's body, and all kinds of Flash craziness that you can expect. But this issue was kind of concluding that story, and actually it became what it was a really cool redemption for Wally. It goes back to Heroes in Crisis, and he has this moment in time where he kind of gets to talk to Roy, and if you know what went down in Heroes in Crisis. So and really kind of it's a turning point for Wally where all these things have happened, and Wally was my Flash. Like I was not happy when he brought Barry back.
That's my Flash, man.
Maybe it's just my age, but I also like the passing of the torch, and I wish that things were a little more permanent in comics, that everybody wasn't always coming back and the status quo always getting reestablished to what it was, because then it makes it more significant. You know, it makes the changes and the beats, you know, and the legacy and history more significant, in my opinion. So
that was one of the big things that made Crisis on Infinite Earth so great was Barry's sacrifice, right? And you know, passing the mantle, passing the torch to Wally, who was the Flash for like 2 decades, like 20 years, right?
Yeah, you could argue that was, I mean, I would say that was the most significant passing of the torch, you know, that there was, you know, because it was this major event that changed the continuity, changed everything for DC Comics, and it was so big that, you know, somebody took over as Flash, and that was so, you know, I mean, it's not just that I like Wally and I've seen Wally. I mean, that there shows you that it was supposed to be a big deal. So, but you know. So this was a great redemption for Wally West. I won't spoil it for you, but it really kind of was him just summing up a lot of things that had happened to him and confronting some things. So
awesome.
Then my number 2. So my number 2 of the week is gonna be Way of X.
Number 2.
Oh my God! It's like I wore this shirt for a reason.
Yeah, for those of you who, I mean, you probably know that Lauren's a bit partial to Nightcrawler, and
a bit.
yeah, and so and I'm a fan of Nightcrawler as well. He is of the faith, as a matter of fact, and but this has been interesting. This Way of X, you know, exploring the different mutant laws that they've made. It's, you know, kind of, to put it simply, they say, oh, you know, in X-Men, Nightcrawler thought he needed to start a mutant religion, but what it's about is he's trying to figure out the way to kind of pull all these mutants together and make them one people, which they've done in a lot of physical ways with Krakoa, with everything that's happened, all the mutants being in unity with one purpose. But now he's kind of looking at it from a spiritual aspect. So the last one of this was really interesting. It looked at the idea of make more mutants. So it was about sex and stuff like that and reproducing. And this one was and yeah, so exciting there. And this one was about you know, kill no mutant or kill no man, or I forget exactly how it. Yeah, so the idea that, you know, that mutant lives are precious, or I guess life in general, so they're not supposed to be killing each other. And so this scene right here too is really, I liked it. I thought it was a good conundrum. It's actually, as a Christian person, it's something I've seen a ton of times, where you get somebody who's this guy, I forget his name, but this character
either, but
yeah, I mean, he's not Magneto or anything, but you know, he's one of these mutant guys, and you know, he's being real snooty with Kurt and with Nightcrawler.
Oh,
you know.
Fabian, you're talking about Cortez. Oh, I know Fabian Cortez. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
he's awful.
Yeah,
on every
he's
level.
like made this situation where he's kind of saying, like, you know, I don't want to spoil too much, but it's like a life or death situation here, and
it's an ultimatum, for lack of a better way. He's putting Kurt in an ultimatum that, the way he puts it, Kurt can't win no matter what he does. And so he's really trying to mess with Kurt and Kurt's morality and stuff. And, you know, Kurt's going to handle it how he handles it. I don't know, man. Like, this issue, I mean, we were talking about earlier, Mason, and I feel like this issue didn't continue accelerating Kurt's growth or the plot like I wanted, I guess. Because like a couple issues ago, when him and David Legion were first talking, and Kurt, you know, put a bullet in his brain or whatever to reset him. That was a huge moment for Kurt. And I was like, holy crap, like now we're getting somewhere. But in this issue, it feels like Kurt could have gone further in his growth. And to some people, maybe he does here. But to me, I felt like it was just stalling him again.
Yeah.
Also, and I just hate Fabian Cortez, and he should rot in hell. So he's the worst.
Yeah, it was cool to hear your perspective on it, you know, because you're looking at the outcome of this and the way he handled the situation and not agreeing with it, you know. But the way I looked at it was that it was actually kind of, I feel like, kind of brilliant in a way, because a lot of times, like I said, a lot of times I've seen this where, you know, when it comes to religion or deep convictions or morality, you know, sometimes people like to get like, well, if this, then that. And it's really, you know, people kind of view it as oh well, if this is wrong, then it's all wrong. It's kind of a either this or that, and you can't make the decision. But Nightcrawler kind
Black
of
and white,
black and white.
Yeah.
And I guess because a lot of times religion can seem to be discussing morality in a black and white way. Actually, the idea, I think, of a higher power and things like that is quite a conundrum. And I find that a lot of times with truly the concepts of God and stuff like that are a lot more and than they are or. But I think as humans, we tend to gravitate towards an or situation. It's like, well, it's this or that, we'd like it to be left or right. We'd like it to be top or down, and so, and so Nightcrawler kind of is aware of this conundrum, I feel like, in this situation, and this, Cortez trying to prove it. So I thought it was a cool kind of, little chess match or standoff, and we'll see where it goes. I don't think it was fully concluded by the end of the issue, or at least what we don't know what it's going to do with them.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Overall, this series has been really cool, and I think bringing up a lot of the interesting ideas and thoughts that X-Men readers who have been along for this Hickman ride have been kind of wanting to see discussed more. So I think a lot of people, I saw it in the chat, have said this is my favorite X book so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if that's your number 2, Mason, what's your number 1 book, bro?
So my number 1, and it's kind of funny because I think last time I was on the show, I think
this was your number 1 last time.
It was last time too. So I've been but
okay.
Joker issue 5, and so I love Batman. I love the whole history of Batman. And this series has been really good, and it's funny because I think it's been really good because it's the Joker, but it's really Jim Gordon's series.
I'm telling you, it shouldn't be called the Joker. It should be called what's on this cover, the Commissioner and the Clown. Like what the?
Yeah,
it's about Jim, from what I understand.
Yeah, I think it could be it could be literally a miniseries or whatever maxi series called The Commissioner and the Clown, and I think this is like epic stuff. Like it's like, I mean, because here's why I think it's because the Joker is interesting, bouncing off of other people, bouncing off against Batman, who's kind of like a mirror reflection of him, but in a different way. And it's really interesting bouncing the Joker off of Jim Gordon because Jim Gordon is so sane. He's like the normal person in Gotham that, we want to relate to Batman, but I think at the end of the day, we truly relate to Jim more. It's like, yeah, I would try to do good in the best way I could, but I'm not jumping off a building. I'm not doing whatever. I'm like trying to call the police and, get this clown thrown in jail, and so, so this issue just was all focused on a time in the past, which was after the first time that the Joker was captured and thrown into Arkham Asylum. And so it's cool to go back. The art, I believe the artist was different on this one. Francavilla. And this is not the typical artist from the rest of the series, but it's a really cool, gritty, dark, kind of felt like, not quite the same, but like an old Arkham Asylum tale or something like that, or it
feels like kind of like an 80s Pulp Fiction kind of feel or something.
It's got a noir feel to it for sure. Look,
that's a good word. Yeah.
It reminds me of the Tim Sale art, from Long Halloween and stuff like that. Just, a cool kind of classic feel into the world of Batman, the early days. And but yeah, it's so I just really dug it. I mean, I think that there was I don't think we included the picture, but there's a panel in here of just Jim Gordon with, he's trying to watch the Joker and he's got like just smoking a ton of cigarettes. And if there's one thing, when I think of Jim Gordon, I just think of just cigarette after cigarette, chain smoking, misery.
Yeah, unpopular opinion, Jim Gordon is just the most predictable character on the planet, and it's not always in a good way to me. Like, I don't hate Jim Gordon or anything. I'll read some of his stuff, but he's the most predictable character. I feel like he's very easy to write too, as long as you know how to write a character.
Yeah.
Joey had a question for you real quick, Mason. He said he didn't see a single indie book in your poll, and we're big on indies in this house. Do you poll indies too, Mason?
Oh, do I pull indies? I do. I mean,
I see a few back there. Yeah.
I was gonna say he's gonna have to show you some.
Yeah, I don't know if you consider Image indie, but I mean, I got Firepower, Ordinary Gods right here. I got Noctera from Image, but Basilisk, I started reading. That's a crazy
Yeah.
right there.
Basilisk is good.
Gnarly.
Super interesting. Out of Body. These are my last week's reads.
I still gotta check that out. I haven't.
I'm surprised you were sleeping on that, Sergio. I feel like that's a you book.
And it looks nice. The art looks dope.
It's good. It's very different than OBE that we talked about. You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like same kind of subject matter, but very different.
If anything, just to be able to compare and see, because they're both very similar concepts and ideas for these books, right? Which is weird. You don't see that too often in comics. Yeah. You see that in like media, like in movies, right? Like Deep Impact, and what was that other one that came out that year? That you always see like those disaster movies. They come out in twos, right? But
there's a lot of penguins cartoons that came out at the same time. Remember that?
Yeah, there you go. So I'm gonna have to check that one out. But yeah. So Mason, you do read some indie as well.
Totally. And so your
Joker
top 3
was number 1, yeah.
Yeah, Joker's 1. 2 was I've already forgotten. See,
Wave
X.
Yeah, and 3 Flash Annual.
Yeah,
Flash. Not too shabby, man. Not too shabby. Lauren, your haul. What did it look like?
Oh, okay. So I didn't have the biggest haul this week. One of the things I actually did really like. So spoiler for the future of this episode, I really liked our Copper Drop, Beyond the Breach.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked how the main character, I liked how she was written. I liked her personality. I'm starting to notice a trend in women leads that are, badass and kick-ass, kind of like in the late 90s, early 2000s with characters like Buffy and stuff. But in this case, they're getting even more gritty, and they cuss a lot, these lead characters, these lead women characters, which is not a problem. It's just something I'm noticing. Like, all of them are like, fuck this and damn this to hell. And I'm like, vibe, I guess.
Yeah. So we're gonna save those thoughts for the Copper
Drop.
Right?
But it was good. I'm just gonna go into my top 3. My third pick of the week. I don't think anybody got this on Twitter. But it was 7 Secrets by Tom Taylor, which if you're sleeping on this, you need to stop doing that. So Sergio, I think you're sleeping on it. Mason, stop sleeping.
Yeah, I haven't checked out at all.
Yeah.
I'm
really good.
I read the first issue and was like, no thanks. Sometimes I'm too impatient, but I read a lot of stuff. So I was like,
you gotta try it, man. Because let me tell you, there's a couple issues here or there that aren't my favorite in terms of, I was like, this issue wasn't as good as others, but 10 brought it back for me. Because the last couple issues before this, I was kind of on the edge. But this one got back to a lot of the action, which I liked. And I was more able to keep up with the characters because the story's starting to branch out a bit more. And it's just a lot of fun. It's also going to pull your heartstrings once you get attached to the characters, though, because Tom Taylor writes it. That's what he does, is he writes characters that pull your heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like it. I'm hoping the secrets get a little bit more intense and less predictable, because the first secret got revealed, and it's not the most shattering thing on the planet, but it was still a big moment. So I'm hoping the secrets will only grow from there,
So
that was my third pick of the week.
Number 2. Here we go.
And my number 2 was, if I can grab it, Eve. Eve continues to surprise me every week. Sergio, this is all your fault.
That was my Copper Drop choice a while back, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I got that bad boy too.
Yeah, it's really refreshing in terms of writing a lead woman protagonist. I know I keep saying that today, but this is a different take on it in terms of she's a kid, but she's not completely helpless while still maintaining her innocence. It's hard to explain, but it's very well written. The art is gorgeous. I know we've talked about it on the show before, but it's utterly gorgeous. I love this bear. I also don't trust this bear now, but I love this bear. So
Wexler.
yeah, I just breaking my heart a bit there, dude. I don't know.
Ted, that's for sure.
Yeah, but it's so good, and it's a refreshing take on a dystopia, and the perspective is really cool. So definitely check out Eve if you aren't already. It's just really fucking good.
And you know what, Lauren, I'm gonna chime in here because Eve number 3 was my number 3 pick.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoyed it as well. You know, like you said, the interior art is dope. I like the premise. For me, my I guess my only critique on this one was I felt the pacing was a little off. It moved very quickly. Like the characters that she runs into in this issue, these other survivors, these other kids, they almost felt like that whole thing was like an afterthought. Didn't spend a lot of time with them, and then she just kind of continued on her journey. So the pace I found very, very, very fast. And I actually just found out. I wasn't aware before. It's only a 5-issue miniseries. So the pacing kind of makes sense. In that sense, there's a lot to kind of, I guess, get to in only 5 issues. And to be honest, I'm a little disappointed because I felt like this is one of those stories, the world building, just the premise, is something that could have been like this grand, epic kind of adventure tale that could have gone on. I could have easily seen like a long run with this book. So I'm definitely curious to see how they wrap up this story with only 2 issues left, right? I mean,
I didn't feel it was too fast because I kind of already felt like it was going to be a miniseries, so I was expecting that. And to me, I read it as like it's kind of like watching a limited series on television, you know, in terms of it's going to move faster pace because it has to, and as long as the writing doesn't get sloppy because of it, I think it can work. Because those little moments she had with those other people they were talking about, those worked perfectly fine for me. Like I was like, this makes sense why this is happening, because they can't take the time to really have like a whole issue dedicated to Eve talking to that person and delving into that whole backstory, but they still have to touch on that backstory to help build the ethos and the pathos with Eve and what's going on with the story in 5 issues or however many it is. So it worked for me, but I think you definitely have to have the perspective and know that otherwise, you might be let down in terms of, well, I want more. Why didn't I get it? You know?
And I will say, I mean, I enjoyed the twist. I gotta say, so far, Victor Laval, the writer, in issue 2, he dropped that bomb. And I don't think at this point it's spoiled to say. So you've got like these survivors on this virus-infested Earth, and they're like kind of like, I wouldn't say zombies, but like it has almost a I Am Legend feel to it, which was really cool. I didn't see that. And then he drops some other twists and turns that I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys who haven't read it. But it was dope. It was crazy. It was fun. I will say the whole time I read Eve, I had a big smile on my face. Very enjoyable. So, guys, go out and cop that.
Mason, I need you to pick it up, bruh, because I feel like you will like it more than you think.
Eve,
I think
specifically,
so.
Yes,
it was good.
I picked up the first issue. I just wasn't inspired enough to keep going with it. I don't know. I loved We Live, which I don't know. I thought of that one because it's like, you know, these kids going through trying to survive and whatever. But I don't know. It just didn't. I mean, I thought it was cool, but it just didn't resonate with me enough for me to go after it further.
And Mason's similar to me in the sense that he's got a quick
release.
And really, if I'm not feeling it after like 1 issue, I'm like, you know, I move on, right? Like there's so much crazy, like just the amount of content to get to is like, you know, if you're not fully not into it, just, you know, there's something else.
And before I say my top pick, Steven's added again, being our, you know, house nerd cheerleader. Don't forget to hit the like button, but I'm gonna say hit as hard as you want, as hard or as light as you want. Just hit the button.
Hey, thank you, Steven. Shout out, man. I appreciate that. If you guys haven't already, hit that like.
Yes, please do. And my top pick for the week,
Go.
a bunch of y'all are going to be shocked, I feel like, based on what y'all said on Twitter. My top pick is actually A Man Among Ye. It is not Way of X.
What? Not Way of X. What's going on here, Lauren?
I'm telling you, I didn't agree with how they wrote Kurt's choice at the end of that book. I didn't agree with it. It feels like they're stalling my boy again. So
okay. So A Man Among Ye, what made it your number one pick?
Well, so this book has been on hold for the past couple months. They had issue 4 a couple months ago, and we just got this issue back, and it's just so fun. Stephanie Phillips is a writer. I absolutely adore her. Stephanie is great, also a fellow bi, so that's wonderful for me. Oh my God, it was just so fun, to be fair. This isn't one of those issues that you read it and you're like, wow, I've never read anything like this. It blew my mind. It's one of those issues that afterwards you're just left smiling because you're like, God, that was such a good time. And it's one of those issues I can read over and over and just remember how fun it was. And to be fair, the first page opened with this. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
oh well, now we know. Now we know why it's your top pick. Look, come on.
It's not the only reason, but it's a part of it. I don't have shame. If Sergio, you can be a whore all the time, so can I.
Hey, yeah, man. Hey, equal opportunity is over here.
But so if you don't know A Man Among Ye, it's a story with pirates, and it focuses mostly on the women, which is cool because it does take place in the 1700s, and Stephanie Phillips writes it as pretty normal for women to be pirates. You still got some men being like, why is a woman a pirate? But overall, it's pretty accepted that, women can take care of themselves and stuff, which is nice to see instead of the whole, oh, how can a woman be a pirate during this time in history, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that. I just want fun. So we get that. And it's well written. The characters are great. Stephanie Phillips is great with characters. If anyone's reading the current Harley Quinn run, then you probably can relate to that. She's writing Harley incredibly well on that. And it's just got some good action, man. I mean, who doesn't want to just stab the British through the chest? I mean, why not?
Hey, our buddy Ian is in the chats today. He stayed up all the way up Tokyo time. I think it's like midnight over there. He's from the UK, so you gotta take it easy on the UK mandem, like,
Don't alienate a large people group.
Alienate, yeah. The British.
Hey, even the British know they're bad. Like, even the British know they screwed up at times.
Oh man.
But again, it's a really fun read. If you're into pirates, you like well-written characters, you like well-written women characters, you like action, you like comedy, pick up A Man Among Ye. I know a lot of people have been sleeping on it. Stop sleeping on it. Get up. Please, it's worth it. I'm sorry, Tara. We're stabbing the British. I don't know what to tell you, hon. We're stabbing the British.
I like the top 3, Lauren. The verse, man. I dig it.
Check it out, Mark.
Shall I get into my top 3? I'm gonna.
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
Short and sweet, because we're already running into time there. This might be surprising to a lot of you guys.
I am surprised.
Sinister.
Okay, I'm just mad that that's the first Marvel book you really picked up on your own. Like, of all the Marvel books, that's the first one you picked up.
Okay, and so this is why I want to talk about it. It was not my top 3. It definitely, I'm gonna say it. Not having read Marvel for like several years, it definitely is not the book to jump back into the Marvel universe. This particular story, I felt like you had to be kind of at least somewhat well versed with what's going on with the Spider-Man story. So I don't know, maybe regular Spidey readers, they get. I just kind of felt like it was just another Spider-Man story. So not the one to go back into the Marvel universe. Now, I don't have a physical copy here, but I did check it out on Hoopla. Guys, I started reading Daredevil.
Yeah! Finally.
That should have been the first Marvel book.
We told you!
Yeah.
Yes. Guys, I can't. So I got 3 issues into the first arc, and I tell you, man, so far the hype is real. The hype is justified.
It only gets better, too.
It's man.
Correct.
Just how Matt Murdock he narrates the story. his inner dialogue. The art is like fantastic, guys. Like,
Yes.
holy. I don't remember. Do you guys know the artist on that Daredevil run?
Chichetto,
I don't remember.
Shadow or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's great, man. How he does Matt Murdock's kind of vision, how he shows that in the art, and great stuff. So I finished off at issue 3 where we have Frank Castle, the Punisher, SQ.
Bro, your big smile with the Punisher, you love that guy, I can tell.
Dude, I'm very much enjoying this so far. Like, I'm already like, I'm going to continue. I'm going to read the rest of this.
So if you trust our judgment on that, so after you catch up on Daredevil, X-Men's next. That's coming. That's what's happening.
If you guys have anything that's comparable to this Daredevil run, man, hit me up with your recommendations in the live chat on Twitter.
Help us convert Sergio.
Yeah, man, it was great, and it's a story that doesn't feel like it's so far, anyways. Like it's self-contained. You don't need to kind of be, kind of aware of what's going on in the greater Marvel universe, which is great. I'm loving it so far. So shout out to everybody who recommended Daredevil. I picked up Beyond the Breach as well. We're going to talk about that in our Copper Drop. I already mentioned Eve. Eve is my number 3. Eve number 3 is my number 3. It's good. Pick it up. I'm sad that it's only 5 issues, but I'm looking forward to the last 2.
Ian, I hope you're still awake because I think you're going to hear Sergio's second pick.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one, I have a feeling is going to surprise a lot of people. Surprised me, which is why it's my number 2, guys. This one here, Man-Eaters, The Cursed. I gotta say, this was not on my radar at all. Actually, to be honest, the only reason I picked it up was a couple of my customers have it on their pull list. So I said, you know what? Let me grab myself a copy. Let me check it out. And I gotta say, very pleasantly surprised. Not a book that I would typically read, like this genre. Lauren, would you classify this as like a YA type story?
It's definitely YA readable. I don't know. So this book, because I did read an early copy, and honestly, it could have been my top 3, this book too. But yeah, I liked it. And if you are a fan of that indie miniseries that happened a while ago called Spy Island, and you liked all the Easter eggs, Steven, if you liked all those Easter eggs in it, like they had the fake ads for the area and all this cool stuff, like stuff that just adds to the world building of the book. There's quite a bit of that in this too, which is one of my favorite things. I love when people add all that extra world building stuff, especially more informational, but more comedic ones too. So yeah, I really like this, and yeah, it could definitely be YA. It's more, it's a YA comedy adventure kind of thing. So yeah, definitely not your typical Sergio.
Yeah, so not my typical kind of book that I get into, but I honestly, guys, I very much enjoy this, and I want everybody, if you can, check it out, pick it up. Even if it's not, I like my horror, I like my noir stuff, but it was just fun. And a lot of the details in the book that add to, like Lauren touched on, like the world building, is just fun. It was a fun read. I enjoyed it. The art is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think we've got another. Oh yeah, this is the other interior. So I think this is the first pages from this book, and it's good enough that now I want to go back and read, like, I guess, the original series. This is like a continuation of that. I'm not sure how many volumes there are. No, Emmett, I didn't read the original series, but definitely 100%. I'm gonna go back and check it out. That's how much I enjoyed this. My number 2, guys, I can't recommend it enough. And
Steven, you're on a roll today in the chat. You got me here.
So shout out to my customers who kind of put me onto this one. I would never have picked this up in a million years, but I'm glad I did. It's opened up, maybe this new world. My number 1, guys.
Number 1.
Bunny Mask. Damn. This, I said it on Twitter. I'll say it on here. bat shit crazy in the best way possible, guys. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. It's just read it.
I mean, this second one you put here looks batshit crazy to me. Like I love it.
Look at that. I mean, we've got like this kind of.
I don't know what's going on with down there with the licking, or I don't know what's happening there. But all right, like
really, yamming on the groinal area. So
it's like the hip from here.
Hip, maybe it's the hip thigh. But yeah, you know what? Listen, who writes this? Paul Tobin. Paul Tobin, guys. Man, how the dialogue in here is like top tier. There's a couple characters in here that are just hilarious. Every character's got like their own voice. And there's a lot of fun stuff, a lot of funny things going on. It ends on a pretty big cliffhanger, so I'm curious to see where the story goes. Saw that bunny. Yeah, Mark Perlow. I recommend checking this out. I honestly feel like it's gonna be like one of these sleeper hits that at the end of the year is gonna be one of the top kind of indie books to. It's gonna make a lot of people's top list. So check it out. It's crazy. And the artist Andrea Muti, who does Maniac of New York, and he does Colin Bunn's Parasomnia, I believe, as well. I dig the style, man. Like that watercolor painting style. Very good stuff. A lot of fun, man. It is creepy. I don't know what else to say about it. Check it out if you guys aren't.
So top 3, Bunny Mask.
Top 3, Bunny Mask is my number 1. Yeah, Man Eater's the Cursed.
And Eve. Got it.
Yeah.
Lit.
So clearly, I'm a fan of the indies. House of Nerd, House of Indie.
I was gonna say we all are here. That's the whole point.
Everybody here is, man. Yeah, guys, man. That's our weekend review, guys. Let us know what you guys had in your top 3 this week. If we're missing something that is like is going under the radar over here, let us know, man. I love to be put onto like new things that I wouldn't maybe typically.
Yeah, feel free to convert us. I mean, we like to put you guys on this stuff, but also there's stuff we miss,
Mm-hmm.
So
for sure. So what do we got? First thought. Mason has put together for us a segment.
Yep.
You want to explain to the people, Mason, what First Thought is, how they can play along in the live chats or on the replay?
Yeah, so here's what we're doing. Today, a new segment called First Thoughts. And we're going to be, I prepared a series of random images, comic related, of course. And we're going to get Lauren and Sergio's first thoughts or knee-jerk reactions. I apologize for the slides. They are #not fancy.
It's okay, my man. Appreciate it.
I made better slides in 2nd grade, but it's okay, Mason. We love you.
But let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the people and the reactions. So we're going to see some.
Find anything about
Siri's trying to talk to me. That freaked me out. Anyways, so we're going to see these pictures, and I just want to see how you guys react. We start with some softballs, and we're going to go from there.
Okay. So first thoughts that come to our mind, first reaction. What do you got for us, buddy?
Okay, let's go to number 1. Can we put it into a slideshow, or how does that work?
You have to give me edit access because it won't let me.
Are you kidding me? Okay.
Nope, I'm not. So I'm going to take that out.
Technology.
Give us a sec, guys. Usually our tech stuff is good, but we struggle sometimes.
A little bit of technical.
I'm a bit of a curveball here. Let's see.
Bear with us, guys. In the meantime, how about that Daredevil? How about that Daredevil?
How dumb do you feel for sleeping on that now?
Honestly, like, I'm not gonna lie, it's got me wanting to check out like this other.
It should be good now, Lauren.
Marvel stuff. You got it? You got it, Mason?
It should.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. It's coming. I'm sorry.
Here we go.
We're not young TikTokers that know what we're doing. All right, sorry.
All right.
Also, I probably just hit the wrong button. I realize now. Oh well, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, here we go. First thoughts.
First thoughts, Marvel Studios.
You know, they're doing things. I'm scared. That's about it.
In terms of the movies, I'd say cookie cutter, safe, generic.
I'd say
wow, you're gonna get Marvel to shut us down again, Sergio.
Now, listen, I'm first bringing my real takes here. Those are my first thoughts, man.
I'd say peak too soon.
Peak too soon? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
am I way off, guys? I say like it's cookie cutter, color by numbers, comic book films for the most part. None of their movies kind of reinvent the wheel, I guess.
Sure, but that doesn't mean you have to reinvent the wheel to have fun. But yeah, I agree.
Oh, they're definitely fun. Definitely fun. Okay. All right.
Okay. Baby Shazam, what up? Like he looks so much like Clark here. That's so weird.
My first thought, the real Captain Marvel. The only one who should be recognized. Done. Let's move on.
So who are you trying to bash with that? Because there was a Captain. If you're trying to bash Carol Danvers in Marvel, that's not accurate because there was a Captain Marvel before she was called Captain Marvel, and that's who you're bashing is the dude.
Yes, yeah. I know she's not the real, or she's not the first Marvel Captain.
Yeah.
He predates the Marvel's Captain Marvel.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah. That's my first thought. Lauren, you got a first thought, or did I miss it?
I mean, again, it just looks so old. It's like I called him Baby Shazam, and like he looks like Clark here, which doesn't help in terms of he was around and also Superman, Clark was, and so they both have similar powers in some ways. Not completely, Shazam's powers are different, but they're both like the untouchable Supermen in a way, So
he's Earth's mightiest mortal.
Apparently, Ian can't stand Shazam. You're getting blocked on the social. Next, let's go.
Yeah, let's keep it moving.
Here we go again.
My first thought, honestly, is who buys these comics? I want to know
everywhere.
Who buys these comics? Like
as Steve says, the greatest mysteries are who buys Red Sonja and who buys Vampirella.
Yes,
don't know.
In all seriousness, I want to know because I never see anybody really kind of posting these books in their halls. But every week in the previews, there's like
60 covers for one book.
So I want to know if anybody picks up Red Sonja like on the regular. Let us know. I want receipts because I don't know how
we need the date on them, the receipt number.
Yeah. There's somebody somewhere swimming in a big vault of Red Sonja variants like Scrooge McDuck. You know what I mean? Like it's just I don't know where all these books go. Are they all sent off to another country? Who knows?
Can I give you my second thought real quick? Okay. That is some epic side boob, guys. The side boob action is very nice. I feel
like it could be done better, but it's fine. Also the ass could be better, but I'm just gonna sit here.
All right, what do we got?
Moving along.
Oh, it's Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa. Well, I don't know what my first thought is. I know what my girlfriend's first thought would be. So I'm not hating. Hey, he looks good.
Sergio, this isn't one of your bros that you're gonna thirst over?
Jason
Momoa's not your bro.
That's Henry Cavill.
Oh, Well, that's your main one. I thought you might have another one.
Henry Cavill's my superhero, my man crush. So I can't even find me a Superman. Right? So, Lauren, what's your first thought?
I mean, my first thought is just like, okay, he has washboard abs. Next, all right. When Jason Momoa first started getting bigger, I was more impressed by how hot he was. But over time, I've just been kind of oozed out of it. Like, does he get? That's a fair question, I think.
I mean, he's in the water like 90% of the time, right? I don't know.
I find him annoying because I'm tired of getting asked if I'm Jason Momoa. I'm like, come on. I get it, but no, come on. We don't all look the same.
What is this, Mason?
Oh no!
It's Maui
This is the
Moa.
real one.
Maui Moa. I dig it. I dig it. Who's that chicken?
That's the other chicken.
That's the chicken from Moana, bro.
Oh man, I gotta brush up on my Disney Pixar.
You know what? You're right, Ian. Just take it all off.
It's the DC, anything goes, right? So
in the Snyderverse, I guess.
In the Snyderverse.
No. You know what? The only way Snyder would do that is if he got to do slow-mo for like 5 minutes on it.
you know he would. You know he would.
Hey, Snyder, please.
Lauren, watch the Snyder shade, eh? Okay.
I'm not shitting on him.
Let's watch the shade there.
Well, you know he used too much slow-mo. It's fine.
Well, what's next?
I hate it. I just hate it. That's it.
Hilarious, epic. This is one of the most epic covers released, guys.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant, man.
I just don't get why people want to buy this and like frame it and put it on their wall. I don't want that thing's face on my wall. Like, it's clever art and it's well done. Absolutely. I get that. But like, goddamn, I still don't want to put it on my wall. I still don't want to own it.
I've got a couple copies. One of them is used as my toilet seat placeholder.
Oh, that's clever.
And then the second copy is used as dartboard practice. So, I mean,
yeah.
Not to get too political on the show, but it's pretty funny. Local artist by the name of Casey Parsons.
Yep.
Toronto.
And I know it's mocking him, Joey. Like, that's why it's good. I just still don't want his face on my wall. But it's a great art, absolutely.
Yeah. It's great. Hey, little known fact, you guys know. So the artist, Casey Parsons, he actually he did a Joe Biden cover in the same vein. It was not released because the writer of this book was his name Maxwell Prince. He didn't want it. He didn't want anything that would kind of maybe potentially be taken as
bashing Biden in the race.
But if you look hard, there may be some prints out there, unreleased prints floating around. So
probably have a money value to them.
You gotta look for them. Yeah. Next, what do we got?
Batmite, bruh, this fucker. I love Batmite. Let me tell you.
My first thought is more bat content. We don't need it. We don't need it.
Batmite though. He's
Batmite.
Anything bat related, please. I think we've had our fill, or at least I have.
I was on a claim sale, and the first appearance of Batmite popped up, and I can't remember how it was, but I was like, I kind of want it. It's something about him just draws me into little Batmite.
He's just tiny and cute, and he's probably a total like brat and an asshole, and you're just like, that sounds great though. This little asshole, great.
I love it.
Aftershock, rad. That's the first thought. They're rad.
Underrated, man. These guys are releasing.
They just had their 100th book out, right? Or is that 100th series?
I'm sorry?
Aftershock, they just had their 100th book or 100th series out or something like that.
Their 100th release, is coming out, I think, in the next month or so. So they're celebrating. And I think they've only been around for 8 years or something like that, maybe less. But yeah, these guys, if you're not checking out Aftershock titles,
seriously do it. They are really underrated. It's kind of obnoxious how underrated they are.
One of my favorite indie titles from last year was Dead Day, which is from Aftershock.
Right. I read that because you were reading it, and it was really good. Yeah,
a zombie book, but not completely different from a typical zombie genre title.
Yeah.
First thought, dope. Read what they're releasing.
Yes.
First thoughts, thick.
Thank you. That was my first one. Was right around there. Just eyes. Love it. Sensational. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how adult oriented do we want to get on the show? It's too early for that, but let's just say my first thought.
I just have like 3 thoughts I can't say out loud.
I'm gonna say.
Even give me the option, Serge.
And I say my first. I'll leave it like this. My first thoughts are something that maybe I'll keep to myself. But I normally wouldn't.
Maybe we'll film bloopers one day and put them up on the channel so our
bloopers
actual subscribers can only
hit
see
me
it.
up at my OnlyFans, guys. For my full thoughts, guys. Deadpool 3.
Okay. My first thought is I'm nervous because MCU, and I feel like they could butcher it. I don't know. I'm concerned. I want it, but I'm concerned.
First thought, let's get Taika Waititi to direct Deadpool 3. The only guy I want to see on that. I think he'd crush that. With him and Reynolds. I think it could be just as good as better than the first one.
That'd be interesting. I feel like they might clash because they're both so strong, like comedically, like have their style. But it could be a match made in heaven, or it could go off the rails. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, my biggest concern is that Marvel might try to put too much control over it because they need to let the director and Ryan Reynolds and the main producers run it. Like Marvel needs to just let them do their thing and just put MCU on it. Like they don't need to do shit. And I'm concerned they're going to try to take too much creative control over it, which is usually what Marvel does. They take complete control. That's what happened with the first Ant-Man movie. That's why the original director dropped out of that, because he wanted to do a bunch of like new and creative stuff, and Marvel said no, so they booed him. God director do what they wanted, and then we got the current Ant-Man movie, which is fine. I know people like it, valid, but it's another very general Marvel film that could have been something different if they had allowed more creative control to the director.
Yeah, the mouse holds the power. Same thing with Doctor Strange. What's his name? The first director got kicked out because he wanted to make it interesting.
Scott Derrickson? Scott?
Yeah.
He wanted to have a more horror feel to it, and Marvel kind of shut that down. Yeah, that's why I'm not a fan of. I mean, let them. Like I said on my earlier take, cookie cutter. They don't want to.
Yeah.
The envelope. All right. Next, what do we got? I
hate this cover.
Yeah.
I hate the cover. That's my first thought. Hate it. The cover.
First thought is
I hate the arc.
We always knew Spider-Man was into bondage.
We always knew Mary Jane was the Dom. Facts.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Give me more Throg.
Throggy.
That's Throg. Just
Throg. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they bring him in for season 2 of Loki to whoop Loki. I'd love to see Throg.
He was in the background in one of the 5th episode, I think. Yeah, he was in the background, like caged up. So I hope he's not just an Easter egg that we never see.
Hey, I haven't watched the 5th episode yet.
I mean, spoiler warning.
It's been out for like 2 weeks. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I've seen all the spoilers already. We good.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else? Is that it?
I don't know. How many more?
Man.
Okay. I see you, Mason. I see you.
Loki. First thought is so far it's pretty good.
First thought, a nice surprise. That's what it was for me.
I'm only 3 episodes into it, but that's not bad.
It'll get better. The 4th and 5th episode will change it for you, sir, in a good way.
Nice.
And I think that's it. Sweet.
Is that it?
Yep.
Man, thank you, Mason. That was some good stuff. Can we save that presentation? So I got to go back to that Yara floor a little later. On my own.
You can just look up the cover.
So I thank you so much, Mason, for putting that together for us. Hope everybody in the live chats and in the replay enjoyed that. Coming up next, finally we're already an hour into the show, guys. But our main discussion is 7 wonders of the comic book world. This is going to be a series of segments. We're going to have others, maybe like top, DC moments, or 7 wonders, best creators, best writers, something like that. So we got something up the sleeve for you guys. But today, most important moments in comic book history. It's pretty straightforward. So we got 7 for you. 7 events that happened within the comics and kind of like in real world comic world.
And
so,
these are just our top 7. So y'all might have something different, and that's totally cool. So, let us know what your top 7 are as we go. These are not in chronological order. They're in order of like 1 through 7, which is the top most important, which is not as important considered to us.
Yeah, and these are, just want to let you guys, give you a heads up, they are approved by the Comic Code Authority. If you guys can see in the top left there, it's official. They've given us the stamp of approval.
Everything's on the up and up.
Everything's on the up and up. Let's kick it off. The 7th most important event or moment in comic book history. What do we got here? The death of Gwen Stacy. First, who picked this? Who came up with this one?
You did, bro.
I certainly didn't pick this one.
Really? I don't know. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think you're secretly a Spider-Man hater, like a Peter Parker hater. I think that's what's happening.
Never, man. Spider-Man.
Yeah, I get it though, because I said the death of Superman was like a major event, but then you called back to the first like major character death. So
right.
I get that. Because this was a big thing to happen in comics at all, because they just went on forever. It's like whatever. So yeah, so that makes sense.
Right. What are your thoughts, Lauren?
I mean, I would agree in terms of since it is the first major character death, and it was the girlfriend to one of the biggest superheroes, right? Spider-Man, Peter Parker, even back then, is one of the biggest superheroes. It's like, imagine if before this, let's say Lois Lane had been killed in DC Comics, which is Superman's big love interest, probably one of the biggest couples of all time in pop culture are those two. Mm-hmm. I mean, imagine how that would have been if that happened before this, insane. So yeah, this is the first time where I think, kind of like we all talk about how comics don't have real stakes anymore. This is when stakes still were a thing in comics. There were real stakes. So when she died, everyone was like, holy shit, she's dead. Like, they just killed the love of his life. And that's what's so funny too, is that, now people mostly know him and Mary Jane as a couple. But if you look here, like, he literally is so upset. He's like, you murdered the only girl I'll ever love. That's how important she was to him as a character. I mean, this is huge, and it really, set the tone of, hey, for a while in comics, we could have real stakes because they continued to actually start killing people, but then they start bringing them back and whatever. But yeah, this is when stakes were a real thing.
And I would think that at the time. Sorry, go ahead, buddy. Yep.
I was just gonna say that I would think if you were trying to hide your secret identity and your arch nemesis is right in front of you and you're holding the girl saying, "This is the only woman I'll ever love," it really helps him narrow down who the heck you are. Probably not the smartest, but he was probably emotional in that moment. So,
man,
Peter and his emotions. I love him. I really do.
Number 7, I think because it like nowadays nothing's a secret, right? Everything's gonna get leaked. Back then, this was like a shock. Nobody saw this coming.
Right. Absolutely.
The superhero always saves his love interest. It didn't happen in this case.
Well, and seeing something like this, even though obviously I wasn't alive when this originally came out, it reminds me of, like, imagine. So I remember seeing The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I know the movie sucks, but just bear with me, guys. The part where in that film he tries to save her and he gets the web on her just like there, and he really didn't catch her in time because the director was genius, completely cut out all sound of that part except you hear her back break. And I remember feeling horrified when I watched that in the theater, just like, oh my fucking God, that's heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
So imagine reading this for the first time in a comic book, where comics are your escape from reality. They're supposed to be fun all the time, and you actually have something that feels very real happen here for the first time ever. That's insane.
A lot of flaws in those movies, but to see that moment come onto the big screen and just
it was genius. That moment is probably one of the best moments in superhero cinema. Fight me. That moment is insane.
Yeah, you're not going to get any argument from me there, Lauren. Number 6 on our list, guys. Number 6, Crisis on Infinite Earths and the beginning of crossover events. This was huge, guys. This was big. I think this came. So I believe it was not the first. Secret Wars from Marvel debuted the year before. So it wasn't the first event, but actually it's a well-known fact that Marvel put out Secret Wars in response to DC's plans for Crisis on Infinite. So this was already in motion. It just Marvel was able to publish first. But this is like, you know, one of the first big crossover events. And, you know, moving forward, you know, it became a regular occurrence to have these big.
Now we got to suffer them all the time and all these tie-ins and all this nonsense. But which sometimes they're good, but yeah, a lot of times.
I think the first time this is a cool thing when you first find out about an event like this, right? So like I couldn't find out about it because I wasn't alive when it came out originally. But imagine for the first time you hear about this, you're like, holy crap, like multiverse colliding and all these heroes are dying and it's a real wow, this is crazy. I just think it's been overdone, the Crisis since then, and that's the shame of it, is that the first one went so well that they wanted to harp on it over and over to get more money out of it. And it's like, no, you should only do this like every 10 years, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, they shot themselves in the foot.
Sparingly so it has the impact.
After this, they've had Infinite Crisis, they've had New 52, they've had Rebirth, they just can't, but at the time it was like, okay, we got all this crazy continuity that's all over the place. Superman's there in World War II, he's over here, this and that. So this was cool because it's like, you know, they explained it and we're like bringing it all into one continuity, and it really did. It changed, you know. Then you got, I mean, like Batman's my favorite character, say, and so it's like, okay, then there was post-Crisis Batman. It's like we knew year one and we knew like his whole thing, and but yeah, so this was big, you know. It was cool,
and then of course, you know, it led to us having 20 years of Wally West, the GOAT Flash. So it was a big one. Crisis on Infinite Earths. Number five. What do we have? The creation founding of Image Comic, guys. This is I mean, I think self-explanatory. It was massive, right? When was this? 92. You had guys like Liefeld and Jim Lee and McFarlane and Silvestri, all these guys, Larson. They came together and they said, man, listen, you know, we need to put out, you know, Marvel and all these big publishing companies, they were screwing the creators, right? No rights, no royalties.
Which is still happening to this day.
So they said enough of this crap, and they decided to, you know, put out Image, creator-owned comics, right? And look what Image has become today. Look how it's opened up the world of comics. You have all these wonderful, you know, stories that are not, these creators are not tied down to these existing IPs, right? I mean, it's, you know, only, you know, the restricted by the imagination, right? So this was a big one, you know.
Yeah, it was great for original ideas, you know, and to see creators take the, you know, where you get less of the meddling and control, or just new world building, you know, which is, you know, sometimes I read a lot of stuff and I feel like, am I really up for a new world build or whatever? But, you know, a lot of times Images where most of my comics, I feel like, come from Image, because you just get creators just kind of free form whatever they can come up with. And it's where you get a lot of the great, true, you know, original stuff.
This reminds me of, I caught up on the Let's Go podcast this morning. I watched their episode from last night. Shout out to Emma and Chris. I know y'all been in the chats. And they were talking about, specifically with James Tynion, the writer, how he has been doing so well with all of his indie creator titles. And they personally feel that his Batman title isn't like the best. It's not their thing, you know? And I think indie titles and something like Image really gives writers and artists and creators in general the platform to shine their best, you know, without limits, without boundaries, without DC or Marvel saying, hey, you have to do it this way. Here's your box. You're in it. Do it, you know?
Yeah. And Joey brings up a good point. I mean, it started off rough, at least creatively. A lot of the stories and characters were like knockoffs or carbon copies of what the big two was doing. But then, you know, they've hit their stride, and they're part of the big three. And I don't know, call me crazy, but I see Image Comics becoming the bigger bigger. I'd say maybe bigger than DC. I don't know about Marvel. Marvel's just so. But,
I would
uh,
agree if the movies and TV shows weren't so big now in terms of like the Marvel movies and shows, and also DC's trying to come back, and I personally have the belief that as long as Black Adam's good, that's going to completely change the DC movies in a good way, as long as it's good. So I can't, unless Image can get a title or a franchise, I guess, for lack of a better word, that could even compare to that, which they still don't have. The closest thing is Spawn, and that's still nowhere near DC or Marvel.
Yeah.
They're still going to be top 3, but they're still going to be that third one unless Marvel and DC collapse in the film or TV industry.
Yeah, I was gonna say Spawn was a huge part of that, and to having that, creating a character, Image coming out with a character that was, that was iconic, that took root. It's like all of a sudden in the 90s, I remember seeing Spawn everywhere, and like it's like, okay, like this is not just a little small side thing, like he is like a big character who's got legs, going worldwide. So
yeah.
Even Savage Dragon, I remember seeing stuff with him and whatever, and so so I mean that's a big component of it. You need to have those iconic characters that take root,
Thank you, Image Comics guys. We got great stuff like Walking Dead out of that, and Saga.
Well, and Image Comics, I mean, they were the ones that really kicked off the indie industry, even if it started off rocky, right? I mean, look where it is now. We've talked about in past episodes of our show how indie comics are like rising, like it's like the modern rise of indie comics. Like they're really making a comeback. They're competing with DC books. They're competing with Marvel. So even if they can't top them, they're still competing with them. I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, Something's Killing the Children is getting a TV show, I think, or movie, something like that from Netflix or whatever now. You've got all these indie titles getting this and that. I mean, that's huge. So they are breaking into film and TV. So regardless, they're good stories, and I'm just glad I'm glad the creators back then did that, because otherwise we wouldn't have what we have now. So
that's our number 5. Our number 4 on the list, guys. The release of Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen in '86. Big year. A lot consider it to be the start of the modern era or the dark era of comics. I think this one is another one of those kind of self-explanatory. They're iconic titles, books for a reason. Man, what are your thoughts, Lauren Mason, on just the massive influence that how this really is a game changer in comics?
This was this is our era. I was literally born in '86, and it's this changed and took heroes from having to be a certain way and just all good, and really what it did was started introducing more flaws and humanity, to our superheroes, especially with the Watchmen, because it was who watches the Watchmen, so asking that question, and then I thought the Watchmen, they came out around the same. I thought that was kind of the first thing that really kind of kicked off this era, but it was right at around the same time as The Dark Knight Returns. And so this idea of Batman being a really screwed up dude who like is all there and just coming to inflict pain and kind of crazy and obsessed with his mission, that we saw really, and Frank Miller then also wrote Year One. So really saw that take root into Batman's character for a long, long time. And even still, to this day. So,
because what did we get before that? We got like mostly campy iterations of Batman before that, right? Colorful, bright, and then this really Batman and Watchmen. These books were deconstructed the superhero genre, right? And these characters, and then out of that, I think in '86 too, you had was Dark Horse founded in '86 too, so it was a big year. You can see why this was considered
a gritty year. What happened in '86 that everybody was so dark and fucking gritty about? Like, I'm sure there was something. This was definitely a big deal, and I saw Chris, your comment in the chat earlier, about The Dark Knight Rises in particular. Relaunch Batman for better or for worse, depending on how you choose to look at it, right? I can't speak much to Watchmen because I still haven't read it, so don't shoot me. I haven't read it. It's not because I'm avoiding it. I just haven't seen the movie either. I'd rather read the comic first if I can. But in terms of, Batman and stuff, yeah, beforehand, you had 60s Batman and then you had the 80s. You also had was that Batman Year One with more of the backstory for him and Jim Gordon's backstory in terms of he's, not a perfect cop. He's actually kind of messed up and he's cheating on his wife and stuff. I like that they went darker with Batman. I just think it's gone overboard over the years, but this definitely was a huge turning point. And honestly, I think this is what made Batman such a huge character, was taking him on this approach, taking him down the modern dark way, instead of it, because he was still a character and known and loved when he was campy, but for some reason it wasn't resonating. But then you make him more emo, you make him darker, and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, I can relate to this emo rich white man, even though you may not be an emo rich white man. And it worked.
Part of it too is because these books, one of the first times, or not the first time, that they were marketed and pushed towards an adult audience, right? A mature audience, versus comics before that a lot of times was for kids, right? Or not specifically made for that audience.
And I think too, like, it's it was this time you're seeing by the 80s, creators who maybe grew up in a postmodern society, after World War II, after this idea of like a wholesome Leave It to Beaver America, really getting creative reins on material and kind of reflecting, their own voice in this new kind of ideas, getting into comics. So and I mean and now what we know today is a lot more nuanced. I mean, I think if comics were still like they were, I probably wouldn't be talking about them, the same way like I am.
Yep. So that's our number 4. We're getting into the top 3 now, guys.
Top three. Anybody put your guesses in the chat what you think our top 3 are, and
creation of Batmite.
Huh? What do we got? I don't know.
So creation of Batmite.
Creation of Batmite.
Let's see it.
Creation of the X-Men. God bless. No, I'm kidding.
What's our number 3? Marvel financial difficulties in the 90s.
So, for anyone that doesn't know who this guy on this picture is, that is Ron Perlman. He is a dude that in the 90s, he kept buying everything and being all everywhere, and he ended up buying Marvel for a bit. And then, since Marvel was doing well originally, selling books like X-Men and Spider-Man, he was like, let's keep buying everything. And so he kept doing that. And as we all know, as the 90s went on, there were some issues with comics, and it really hit Marvel really hard, to the point where Marvel was this close to bankruptcy, if not actually hitting it.
Well, they filed for bankruptcy in 1996, and because of that, they had to. Yeah, no problem, buddy. They had to sell off the film rights to their characters to multiple studios, right?
Including Sony.
Fox, right? So what came of that, the financial difficulties, they're trying to stay afloat. They sell their movie rights. And what came out of that, you had like the modern comic book movies, Blade being the first one of them. Then you had X-Men in 2000, Spider-Man in 2002. These 3 films, you've got the modern comic book movie. It helped to revitalize Marvel Comics, and I mean, massive, right? What Marvel has become, the MCU has become for pop culture, for comic nerds. I don't think it can be overstated, really. Just huge. Lauren, do you have any other thoughts on this one here?
I mean, not really, other than, I think the 90s are interesting in terms of just comic books in general, because you either have a really big softball for the 90s or you hate it. There's really no middle. I'm one of those people that, even though I was born in the 90s and stuff, I don't get 90s comics. Like, in terms of like Marvel and stuff, specifically Marvel, I'm like, what the hell was Marvel doing then? And this explains a lot of it in terms of, they were trying to figure things out. And then you had certain creators and artists doing weird shit like Lee Phil trying to do everything. Then you had the X Factor 1 basically scam thing Marvel did. Like, yeah, the whole thing with that.
Yeah, it was a crazy time. But at the end of the day, I mean, as bad as this guy's decisions were, if it wasn't for him, the MCU would probably not be what it is today. Yeah, so shout out, what was buddy's name? Ron Perl?
No. We're not shouting that guy out.
He did give us.
We could have had the MCU with the X-Men originally if he had a bankrupt Marvel, please.
Yeah, Spider-Man, yeah.
Oh, that's what
we
I
could have
was
had Spider-Man originally. We could have had so much more. Now we have to wait longer because it's dude.
So I mean, like the decisions are not that definitely a big moment in comics, right? But our number two, guys. Our number two, what do we got? The birth of Marvel Comics, or as they were known back when they started, Timely Publications, I believe, or Timely, yeah. So they weren't actually Marvel until obviously they put out that Fantastic Four in 1961, I believe, right?
Wow.
Whether they started off as Timely, the point being,
well, you did have this Marvel comic with a first appearance of a Human Torch that was in Fantastic Four. This was first.
Yeah. So that came out like in 39 or whatever it was. So yeah, it was called Marvel, but the publication company was Timely.
Right.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, go ahead, Mace.
It's competition is so good for fans, and so DC was out and they had their characters and stuff like that, the golden age. But then as Marvel comes in, with just different thinking and doing things like, like Spider-Man, where teenagers are never the main heroes, they're always sidekicks, and it's like just trying new ideas, experimenting with the mutants and these things that people would say, oh no, people don't like that, or they need to be likable, they need to be this and that, but really, interesting ideas. And so I love a lot of the characters that came out of that with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, or was it Kirby? Yeah. Yep. Putting these new kind of characters together that are obviously still around to this day, are major, iconic.
Yep. And as usual, Marvel always following in DC's footstep. I mean, they put out the Fantastic Four inspired by the Justice League, right?
Well, and I was gonna say, who's more iconic than just pretty much any Marvel character.
That's it, guys. Our number one. I don't think this one can be argued. The release of Action Comics.
You really can't argue that as a number one. You can't.
The start of the Golden Age.
That's a picture of my copy right there.
Your copy? Nice.
You had the nerve to put an Action Comics copy on a scanner. How could you do that to me?
And then I smashed the door down to the thing. Get the photos.
What can we say? It's the start of the superhero age, the golden era in comics. Before that, a lot of your heroes were like detectives or like westerns or adventures, and this is one of the first superheroes. I think there was the Phantom before Superman, but Superman kicked it off. The most recognizable character in the world, probably the most valuable comic in the world. Action Comics and Superman, we don't have.
Literally, a page of that thing is worth at least thousands of dollars. Like just one page, it's insane.
Yeah. So that's it, guys. That's our top 7 moments in comic book history. Now, if we drop the ball somewhere, let us know, man. If we miss something.
Christopher Evans says Howard the Duck should have been.
Howard the Duck. Yeah.
What is with Howard the Duck, Chris? I feel like we need
honorable mention, guys, that you guys think maybe could have cracked the top 7 or had an argument. Death of Superman was a big one.
Batmite.
Can't go Batmite.
Batmite.
That's our list. Yes. You know what?
Honestly,
I wanted to bring this up. Wrong comment.
No, Ian, you stayed up that late to say that. Why?
This almost made here.
The seduction and this. Yeah, that's a good one.
For those who don't know, it was a book that was released, I think, in the 50s, And it was basically, you know, talking about the comic book industry, how comic books, they're bad, how they're like, you know, messing with kids and this and that, just basically a big knock against comic books. And so because of that, you had the Comic Code Authority created, and for like 40 years, you know, kind of set the boundaries on what can be put into comics. So that was a big one. An argument for that being included.
Some good ideas, guys.
Hey, that was it, man. You know, carefully curated. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And again, let us know on the socials if we were way off base on any of our picks.
So, Sergio, since I know Steve isn't here this week, but you know, I think next week he's still doing that thing he always does. What's that thing he always does?
TO Comic Book Club.
Yeah.
You know, my man Steven, he's the moderator admin over at the TO Comic Book Club. He took the week off because we've been working him too hard. We've been
you know, he's the father of the show in terms of he has to keep us in line. We have to give the dad a vacation, and it happens.
He needed a break, so they took a break, but they have something coming up next week, guys. Collapser. I'm not too familiar with this book myself. Lauren, do you know anything about this title?
I literally know absolutely nothing. I was actually surprised too to see that it is a Young Animal imprint, CC's Young Animal imprint. So I don't know. It looks really cool though, like the cover itself.
Yeah, it looks interesting. So next week, guys, we're gonna have the Discord link for that club in the description of this video. Check it out. We got people all over Peru. I think Oscar's in the chats. You know, all over the place. This is worldwide, so feel free to hang out with Steve and the club. We're moving on.
Love it.
You guys know. Lauren, do you want to do the introductions? Go for it, man.
I mean, I was just like, this is your favorite, Serge. You're the one that every week you're like, guys, we got to do it. We got to do Copper Drop or else. Like, you're always the one that remembers.
Copper Drop time, guys. And once again, Mason is going to be the deciding factor. Now, if you don't remember, if it's not fresh in your memory, your man right here, he took Copper Drop round 1 with Mason last time. I brought the heat again.
What was that book again?
I don't recall.
No, you know, Sergio, for the record. But you know, before we go into, you know, Mason got to pick between us, what did we read this week, bruh? We had to read something. Did you do your homework? Did you forget again?
Man, thank you, Lauren. Thank you so much, guys. Good looking.
Sergio has this bad habit of not doing his homework.
I did my homework. Lauren,
sorry,
bro, come on. You gotta, with the three of us, right?
I'm getting there, bruh.
Okay. Beyond the Breach #1. Mason, what did you think, bro?
Okay, so Beyond the Breach #1, it was kind of cool, kind of exciting, kind of reminded me of Stranger Things a little bit in a way, but more vulgar, like Lauren was saying. They got the tough, you know, heroine chick, you know, of the book, and she's you know, she actually was really funny because I don't want to spoil it too much, but she just went through a bad breakup, and the way they show that in the beginning of the book is pretty hilarious.
That's kind of thing actually they do with a lot of these women lead heroines as well. I'm starting to notice is there's always a breakup that pisses them off. Like,
yeah.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling that Ed Brisson is not a woman, and so he's another guy writing, you know, a woman and how he thinks.
Nathan, did you just assume his gender? Come on, I can't be doing that. It's 2021.
Hey, if Lauren can hate on all of the UK, then I can assume that Ed Brisson.
The UK isn't just Britain.
You wanted to. I'm sorry, just Britain. You wanted to stab them, I believe it was, with a pirate sword.
I never said I wanted to. I said good for the man. You know what? Fine. I want to totally do it. Whatever. I'll take it.
So what are your thoughts?
This is how cancel culture gets going right now. It's going to be cancel Lauren on the House of the Nerd Show. She wants to stab British people with pirate swords.
They deserve it.
Anyways,
what were your thoughts on the book, bro?
Yeah, so my thoughts on the book were I like the art. I don't, I felt like it was lacking in the story or in what a first issue should totally bring. I think that it was interesting. I was like, okay, what's going on? But there's a concept in like storytelling, whether it's movies or whatever, where especially like in visual mediums, where you want to be like, you want people to be asking, okay, what comes next and not what's going on. And so I felt like too much of this was what's going on and wasn't super clear. They didn't really answer anything or even like tease anything of really being under. All we just see is some monsters like doing some crazy stuff. And I was left with more questions and answers, and not in a good way, I felt like. So do I have to say, I think you can guess, but do I have to wait to say whether I would cop or drop it or anything?
What's your vote, bro?
So I would say no, I would not
dropping
this again. Yeah, I would drop it.
Oh, Mason brought the sword today.
Okay.
But not for British people.
Lauren, how about you? What are you thinking? What were your thoughts?
I feel kind of bad now, but I mean, I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was amazing or anything. And to be fair, I did feel what you were saying earlier, Mason, in terms of like, this is clearly a dude trying to write a woman lead heroine. And it's not like he's doing terrible, but you can, again, tell it's not a woman writing it. But again, I still enjoyed it. I was still interested to see what happens, but yeah, there's a lot of tropes in it. Actually, the more we keep talking about it and I think about it in terms of she's just had a breakup. Now she's just mad and beating everything up. And, oh, but wait, now there's a kid. So, there's a kid in the story and she talks with the kid and she's actually nice to the kid. Okay, good. But then there's the motherly thing. That's always what they have women leads do. They're always empathetic as hell, which yay, but also anyways. So I don't know. I did enjoy it though. So, but now Mason's making me think too hard about this. So I don't know. Come back to me, Serge. Come back to me for my decision. I don't know. I don't know.
On the fence.
My thoughts on Beyond the Breach #1. It was good. I mean, I don't. You know what I like? It gets right into it. The book sets the stage from like the first page or two. And we have this other dimension clash with our world. The action was fun. The art, the creatures, these monsters that came across were interesting. Definitely, there's a lot of questions. How did this happen? But I don't like everything answered right away. I
there's supposed to be
like when stories kind of build to that and mystery. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna get to it. I think it's a cop for me. It's enough that I'm interested to see. I want to know what happens in issue 2. Yeah, and then plus, I gotta support the Canadian writer Ed Brisson.
This is Aftershock too.
It's an Aftershock book, yeah. Where was that?
I mean,
the Canadian, he's a good old Canadian boy from the East Coast, I believe. No, in all seriousness, it was a good book. If not, it wasn't. It didn't make my top 3, right? But if you guys are into like those kind of
look at this art, like the horror with the monsters. I mean, that's just getting me, because I pulled it as you're talking again, like I'm looking at it because I'm still trying to make my choice. And honestly, I mean, the art alone is really fucking cool with the monsters.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, it was I think that's the best way to put it. It was a cool book. And I'm curious to see how the story continues, right? I want to see them go on this little adventure, see how they survive the main character.
So you're saying cop?
Yeah, I'm saying a cop. So we got Mason drop. I'm a cop. Lauren, okay, interesting. This is coming down to you now.
Did I sway you or did Sergio pull you back? What do you think?
So Sergio did not pull me back, but the book did, because I just opened it, like I said, because I was like, well, there's a reason I like this. Why did I like it as much as I did? And yeah, I mean, if you are really into like actual monster stories, like with actual crazy monsters that are drawn really well, lots of action, you like, the like good horror movies that have some heart-wrenching moments, This is a book for you. And honestly, I like a good monster book nowadays in terms of comics. So I'm going to say Cop.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? Here in the chats, I think it's just a fun creature horror tale.
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm with you, Joey.
That, it's not going to reinvent the wheel, but we don't need that for every book. It's entertaining. It is what it is. So you got Cop, Mason drop. I'm a Cop. So the consensus, grab Beyond the Breach #1. I feel like it's only going to get better.
And sorry, Mason, everybody loves you, but we're not going with your choice.
Hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. I would say
the way the cookie crumbles.
I know I was cracking up in the chat this talk about Britain and all. But
if Chris and Ian want to see me with a sword, check out my OnlyFans. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Dude, I would say
all right, let's pull it up. Can we do a crossover OnlyFans event?
Jesus.
Oh my God. Gotta pay double. It's like
do it. You know what? Maybe it'll be a Christmas present to our best OnlyFans. Only 20 of our top fans will get the invite.
You heard it here, folks.
So I was the dissenting opinion, but I would say that, I mean, I think that this might be better as a trade in the end when the story comes out. Going week to week, I don't feel like picking it up. So maybe that's the best way to enjoy just a fun monster story like this, because I did like the writing. I did think it was funny. I did think the art was great. So so there you go.
It just wasn't your favorite, and that's cool.
And that's fair. And that's a good point, Mason.
You know what, Chris? Our House of Nerds OnlyFans is gonna be great.
It is. I mean,
it's gonna be slow mo because we appreciate Zack Snyder in this house. I got to bring some love back to him after I was rude earlier. It's gonna be slow mo of all our comics. It's gonna be comic porn, just all the pages crumbling.
and completely unoriginal. Hit the nail on the head, guys. It's got to be mentioned at least once an episode.
Yeah, but no, and I appreciate what you said about it, because you can still say to drop something, Mason, and still say, hey, I get why other people like it and why other people still want it. You don't have to completely bash it, like.
Yep, totally. So now, Mason, you're gonna choose between what I have and what Lauren has. Lauren, do you want to kick it off, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you not want to go first today?
I can go first. I gotta pull it up here.
I got the picture for you.
You got it? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I got you. See, I'm nice even to my competition.
Oh, I love it, man.
All right, so here we go. So Sergio's pick terrifies me.
We don't kill spiders.
I think we should kill spiders. Not all of them. I know they're important for the ecosystem, but I don't want them.
Just anyone she sees, like a British person.
What? Come on, God! I'm never.
I think Ian left the chat. He got tired.
I'm gonna have to put that in my bio on Twitter. Just British hater. Thanks to Mason. Frick.
So we don't kill spiders, guys. It's a #1 from Scout Comics, Black Caravan, and who's Joseph Schmalke. He's been putting out great content. I had a synopsis here for the book somewhere. I cannot find it at this moment. So my pitch is gonna be, it's got a cool cover. They're trying to maybe it's a good message. We don't kill spiders, any of God's creatures, Mason.
So far, this is kind of underwhelming.
All right, moving on.
I gotta find the synopsis. I'm looking for it right now.
Yeah,
all right, I got a synopsis for you. I got one just for you. All right.
Okay. All
right. But it's for my book.
Oh, okay.
Go for it, Lauren.
All right. So my book is called Siphon, however you say it. And it is the Top Cow imprint of Image. This was not on my radar at all until I was actually looking, at options for Cop or Drop this week. and I'm really glad I checked it out. So it is about a new supernatural empath who is entrusted with the power to sense and siphon pain from others. Silas, who is a fast-living EMT, is now able to directly ease the suffering of people around him. But the more he uses this gift, the more it curses him with carrying the my series, how do you say that, of those he's helped, so like the memories, I guess, of those he's helped, and the pain and such. Tormented by his solitude, Silas is befriended by a drifter who eventually draws him into an ages-old war that has raged for control of the human condition. So it focuses a lot on pain, on emotions. I just think it sounds really fucking fascinating, and the art looks really cool, the cover. Okay. I haven't read a story like this at all in terms of somebody focusing on siphoning pain from others and what that burden can have on somebody. So I think it could be a refreshing take.
Okay. Apparently not. We got Steven right here, and
he said that before you pitched. So be quiet.
Don't even bother.
Don't even bother, Lauren.
Steven, is this gonna be our first fight? Damn it!
Spiders drink tea and eat crumpets.
Oh no! Never want to see that.
So now, listen. We got a synopsis here. Mason.
No! Look, I've got all these people.
No, I'm gonna pull up.
It's a great story idea. Gonna pick it up. I've already got Mark. Joey's already on the page too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to hear what this spider book is about.
Okay. So
you already messed up your pitch.
In the early Viking age, a faithless Norseman detective is summoned to a Scandinavian hamlet where a series of murders have occurred. Discovering the dark and
look at the cover. What?
Discovering the dark and bloody history of the village.
There should be Vikings on the cover. What?
There's a Viking on the cover. You gotta pull it up.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go back.
Yeah. Right there.
Okay, in the background.
Right
Okay.
So I mean, it sounds pretty cool. And in all honesty, Black Caravan puts out, like, I feel like underrated, underappreciated gems.
This is not underrated. I've seen it all over my dash. Don't even. And you're cheating.
So basically, it looks like they're trying to. The gist of it is a serial killer. They're trying to figure out what's going on. So some kind of a mystery. It looks interesting, man. And if you're familiar with Joseph Schmalke's work, he does pretty Phantom Star Killer.
But
a lot of great stuff.
This is gonna be so fucking cool to read.
Okay, well, let me verbally process here. So, with I don't know, with Black Caravan on Scout, I've only read a few things. I haven't been too impressed. I mean, to be honest, Serge really botched the pitch.
Man,
to bring it back at the end. I trust Image a lot more, but at the same time, it's a cool concept, siphon. I mean, I like the idea of somebody siphoning pain, but it sounds like with the description that it could go into a very like push with Chris Evans kind of like feel, if there are going to be more people who do different like little things, like somebody, I don't know, puts an idea in somebody's head or whatever, like kind of a mini X-Men cheap fake kind of thing. And sometimes
doesn't do that. It doesn't do that.
But we don't know.
I'll bite my tongue then.
Oh, okay. Okay, so maybe it doesn't do that. Okay, but then
I never said I only hate the British in the past, Ian. I'm sorry. I don't hate the British now. Just the past. British.
Oh, okay. Just the redcoats, like
spreading misconstrued propaganda, Mason. Damn it!
Can I
You're fired as my publicist.
Whatever Mason chooses in all seriousness, I love how you're actually putting thought and you're deconstructing these synopsises.
Yeah, Joey, it is.
So I love how he's taking it seriously. I appreciate the thought and effort here, Mason.
No, I am, yeah, because I mean, there was like, it could be because I usually trust Image, but not always, because I picked up like Commanders in Crisis and a spoiler warning for the first issue, but it was like people are from the future coming to steal our hope, and it was just like too like corny for me. Like they tried to make it really cool, but I was like, you're coming to steal hope, like that's like too cheesy for me. Yeah. And I love the cover of the We Don't Kill Spiders. Is that what it was?
Cool cover. Yes, it is, sir.
It really intrigues me, and I'm like, oh, this could be interesting, but I feel like there's just so much coming out of scout that sometimes it's not the quality level. I feel like hasn't all been there. I've gotten their scout boxes and been a little disappointed at times, you know. So so I think I'm gonna have to go with my heart here, and it tells me Siphon #1 is gonna be
Let's
the
go!
right one.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Nice pick there, Lauren. You knotted it up. We're tied 1-1. So you know what this means, Mason. You're gonna have to come back a third time for the tiebreaker, and next time I'll be prepared. But
You know what? You know what's gonna happen this one? He's not gonna regret this pick, like he regretted the other pick you gave him.
I don't even. What was my last pick? I don't even remember that.
I thought we remembered. That's a good question. Does anybody remember? Somebody in the chat remembers. I'm sure y'all are way better. Because I picked Compass, and then
Supergirl.
Oh no, that was Supergirl. Okay, that was fine. You're right. So Serge, you were good on that one then.
On the Supergirl pick, that was my pick.
Yeah,
I that was your
right.
pick.
Because I was mad at you that week because you picked her, and I was like, well, damn, I guess I won either way. That's right.
Shit falling off the walls here. Damn,
the Fortress of Solitude is falling apart over there.
One of my comics fell out. Okay, so that's what we're going to be reading next week, guys. Siphon #1. We're going to be picking it up. Please read along with us, you know, and let us know how Mason messed up and should have gone with my "We Don't Kill Spiders" pick. Guys, before we get out of here, man, I'm hyped for this one. I hope you guys are going to be hyped about this one too. Next week, next Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, on the House of Nerds show, we've got not one, but two guest creators on the show, Christopher Cantwell, Adam Gorham of the Blue Flame from Vault, which is a fantastic title. It's coming up out of the gate strong. We're hyped. We're hyped about this one. You guys who've been with us from day one on the show know Adam is one of my favorite artists, man. He's killer. Chris is crushing it on the Blue Flame right now. So we got another duo. We're hyped about this one. Yeah, man.
I'm excited because when does the third issue come out? Is that next week or is it the week after?
Comes out July 28th. So
okay, so 2 weeks.
The Wednesday after our show. So we'll be touching on Blue Flame and these gentlemen's other works. No, Ian, I don't believe they're British. I could be. I know.
I didn't realize I was hitting such a nerve. Oh my.
Adam's actually a local guy from Toronto. So, but yeah.
And the British get better.
And Christopher Canwell, yeah, he's part of the Halt and Catch Fire.
Oh, I've never heard that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we're hyped, man, and we hope everybody comes out for.
Yep, and Steve will be back next week. So if you were missing Steve having to deal with us, he'll be back.
Yeah, and you know what? It just reminded me, actually. Mason, do you think, I hate to put you on a spot like this, but maybe you can do another little quick vid review of Siphon, yes?
That'd be great.
Since it was your pick, yeah.
I will give you my thoughts.
Absolutely.
If it was the right pick.
Next week, guys, Christopher Canwell, Adam Gorham. It's going to be a good time. Before we get out of here, you know, Lauren, you want to tell him this is your thing?
It's my thing now? You know, guys, we love doing the show, and you know, it's important that you do hit that like button, as Sly Steve said in the chat earlier today, that you subscribe, ring the bell, so when we put other content out, because we're starting to try to put out more content other than our live shows here on Sundays, and we want to make sure we're putting out content that you guys want to watch and that is enjoyable. So make sure you're hitting those notifications, like us, subscribe, find us on Twitter at House of Nerd Show. I'm on Twitter at Friendly Neighborhood MBHD by Mason. Where in the world can we find you, bud?
Well, as I said at the top of the show, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. You can follow me at Comics and Crosses on Instagram, or at Comics and Crosses on Twitter, and look up Comics and Crosses on YouTube for my channel, where I'm reviewing weekly books. Got some interviews. and different things coming out. Yeah, I hope to see more of you guys in the Twitter sphere and in the social world out there.
Yeah, and you got some love from the audience there, Mason. Yeah, thank you, man, so much again for coming through and stepping up to the plate.
For those of you that might have missed it or you didn't hear it last time he was on, Mason is one of the original House of Nerd people. He just couldn't stay on every Sunday with us, but he is one of the originals that was helping us make this show and being a part of it. So he's always an honorary House of Nerd OG here with us.
Yeah, and I appreciate and you guys, to everybody out there who rode with us this morning, I gotta say I saw this show at its inception and I see it now, and Serge and Lauren, and I'm sure Steve, although he's never around when I'm here, I don't know what's up with that. But they're putting a lot of work in behind the scenes and really making an excellent show. You guys are doing awesome. I'm loving it. It's really cool to see it all come together, and this is a great time because you guys are making it a great time.
Yep, and I love the crossovers, and we gotta do more. We'll have to come to your channel sometime.
Yeah, you go. We'll have an OnlyFans pay-per-view event.
Big time, man.
That'll be the big time. You can subscribe on our Patreon for those videos and links.
Yeah,
Mason, my man, the fourth member of the Heatles. That's right. I gave ourselves a nickname. Hey,
I was gonna say I don't know what you just said.
We bring the heat every week, guys. Lauren, where can everybody find you at? Where can everybody find
Twitter
you?
at friendlynbhdby. If you just go to my Twitter, honestly, just click the link that's in there. It's the link tree, has all my other links. Check the description below, obviously, for all of us. Ooh, comics crossovers. I like that, Ruben. And yeah, I write for the Wednesday Poll as well. For their website, I write reviews and stuff. So make sure you're checking them out. The Wednesday Poll guys, they have a podcast. They are both utterly amazing. And yeah, just come bother us. We like being bothered.
Sure, that's awesome. And you guys know, insert name INC on Twitter, insert name comics on Instagram. If you guys are looking to start a pull list, back issues, I've actually got a couple variants that I'm going to be working with Gotham Central dropping this week. So look out for my announcements on that. I'll have some heaters available for you guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out and making this show like a blast every week, man. You guys,
yes, y'all were really loud in the chat today. That was really fun. So thank you. It's really great.
Tell me, man. It was a great time. That's it for our show, guys. We'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Chris Cantwell, Adam Gorham. We're out. The House of Nerd.